Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, December 2nd, 2016.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Barry Bergeron, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Alan Kawaguchi, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Angelica Samayoa with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we did not receive any speaker cards under general public comment. We also did not receive any commentary under the Neighborhood Council, nor any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, then we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Is there approval of my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the, do we have any prior meeting minutes to approve?
We actually do not have any meetings,
okay.
Minutes to approve today.
So we're not approving any of our prior minutes.
Correct.
So the first thing, therefore we do not approve.
I just thought I should just throw that curveball at you. So.
Yeah. So I was looking at, also the length of the paper wasn't the same. That was really throwing me off here. But let's start with a 30-year service retirement award to Christopher Bell by Daniel McKay.
Good morning, Commissioners, members of the board. I'd like to acknowledge one of our own, the Bureau of Sanitation, Mr. Christopher Bell, RCTO, for 30 years of dedicated service. Before joining the city, Chris was employed as an airport shuttle bus driver. He then joined the city in March of 1986, started as a refuse collection truck operator at the Western District, and before transferring to South LA. Mr. Bell has operated all forms of collection equipment during his illustrious career, from front loaders, manual side loaders, rear loaders, semi-autos, and the well-known fully automated side loader. He is well loved and respected amongst his peers. He's spiritually conscious man who took leadership role in mentoring the new drivers and displayed a great appreciation for the opportunity to work for the city of Los Angeles. His hobbies include working on his modified Grand National, weightlifting, so much that they tribute the gym at the South LA Yard to his name, Big Tank's Gym. He's been married to his wife, Megan, for the past 34 years, and the father of 2 adult children, Darnisha and Chris. Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you, my man. Let's have a few words. He kind of
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. How y'all doing today?
We're great. How are you? Congratulations.
Excellent. This is a great opportunity to stand before you guys. I've seen a lot of my co-workers over the years didn't get this opportunity, and I would just thank my district manager here, James. I'm grateful for the city allowing me to have a career job for 31 years, basically. And it's been a true blessing to me and my family. I've raised good kids, and like I say, he gave my history, and it's just a great honor to be able to have this job, especially having a limited education, and to be able to live real decent. And the city's been good to me, and I'm grateful. And I'm not used to speaking in front of a lot of people like this, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm just honored just to come down and you guys acknowledge my work, my hard work over all the years, and I really appreciate that. And if I left anything out, don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my mind. So thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I would just mention that, first of all, thank you for the years of service to the city of Los Angeles. The job that you carried on for so long is a job that relates directly to the public safety of the millions of people that not only live in Los Angeles but work in LA and pass through Los Angeles. And it's always it's exciting for people, for us, when we get to see people that go into the next step of their life. Obviously, you're in great shape, and you have still young and have great years of retirement left with your your wonderful family, and so we wish you the best in retirement. But it's also bittersweet because we lose someone with the incredible experience that you bring to the job every day that you come to work.
Right.
And it's a natural progression of public service, and it's something that has to occur. But it does mean that it's also with some sadness that that the position and the Bureau will carry on without you. You've obviously left your mark in additional ways. With the gym being named after you, and and just that, and your years of camaraderie there and friendship there indicate that you've left a permanent mark with our bureau and with your coworkers, and for that we say thank you as well. So
I appreciate that, Mr.
congratulations.
James. That great compliment. I truly feel honored, like I say, for you guys to do this for me, and just thank all you guys. No doubt about it.
We're happy to. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, Christopher, it's an honor for me to thank you for 30 years of service to the city of Los Angeles. I always say that public service is an honorable profession because you're able to improve the lives of others. And I think even more specifically, when we look at what we do in the Bureau of Sanitation, we have the second largest city in the United States of America. And the service that you provided has such great impact. And I think when you sit in your rocking chair on the front porch, you can look back with pride.
Right.
That you work for a great city and you provided a great service. We're doing so many dynamic things in the Bureau of Sanitation. And I've always concluded by saying, Los Angeles is a great city, but what makes us great are people like you who have done great service to our city. So I thank you so very much, and I'm honored that you have served our city. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Commissioner Rivas?
Thank you, Mr. Bell, for your service to the city. I'm always so inspired hearing the stories of people that have served the city like you. And I know you mentioned that you're not used to speaking in public, but you do it very well here, and maybe that is something you want to continue doing and inspiring young people to work for the city or to have a good career, no matter what.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Daniel, thank you for that report, or that reiterating Mr. Bell's, or should I say Big Tank? Big Train. Big Train.
They dedicated the gym over South LA.
Big Train.
I've trained in there for 12 years, trained all the young guys, and they really looked up to me. So when I had my retirement dismissed, they put all the plaques up and named the gym after me. It was a true blessing.
Big Train, no doubt. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, and for your service, sir. When I heard of the mentorship and leadership that you have provided younger employees, that's what it's about. That's what it's about, finding your own voice and serving others and helping them to understand that this is a city not just of service, but of stewardship. So thank you, Mr. Bell, for that aspect of your life. And I don't think you're going to be in a wheelchair. I think you're going to be in a wheelchair doing rocking chair, doing leg lifts, doing leg extensions.
Right.
But as Commissioner Rivas said, that you're going to continue to serve and to bless others with your energy and your mission in life too. So thank you so much for your life, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Commissioner Repenning.
Sure, Mr. Bell, I just wanted to echo my colleagues in congratulating you. You certainly deserve a break after 31 years of doing some of the hardest and most important work in the city. The work that we do at sanitation, the work that you and the many really dedicated employees of sanitation do is critical, as Commissioner James mentioned, to the health and safety of our neighborhoods. It is the basic foundation that allows people to live, as you said, decent lives, that allows us to make sure that families and people going to work and kids going to school have the ability to go about their day in a way where the basic foundation of cleanliness and safety are provided. So thank you. You've made a huge contribution to this city, and we hope that you enjoy every day of your retirement, enjoy your family, and who knows what adventure is coming your way next.
Right. Thank
Take
you.
care. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just one more thing, Christopher, before we close and recess for a moment for a photograph with your family. March of 1986. It seemed like a blink of an eye ago, didn't it?
You know, time went quick, but it was a long, hard journey. You know, it was a long, hard journey. I tell anybody, you might not understand what sanitation do, but when you get out there and pick up all that rubbish, every day is yours. It ain't like you can call somebody off the bench to come and help you. That is yours, and you get no other help. So it's all you. And I thank God 15 years ago that automation came in. You know what I'm saying? Because I had throw trash for 15 years. And I'm knee pain, shoulder pain, back pain. And I tell anybody, if you don't do it, you don't know. But I appreciate you guys recognizing, because we out there in the heat, the rain, the cold,
the wind,
and you know, and if you don't, if you see the man doing it, but that man is a hell of a man, because you got to do it every day. It's all yours. You know, when in any one of them jobs, and it has to be completed every day. You don't come back like a lot of other street services and any other departments. You can come back the next day. It must be completed today. You know, and that's what I took pride in. And all them years, I never had one write-up. You know, in them 31 years, I never had one write-up, and management have always treated me to the utmost. So it was a good deal.
Well, we gave you a write-up in the way of a certificate.
I appreciate that. That's a good one.
How about that? That's the one. That's the one to have. So we'll take a quick photograph with you for your family for that.
That's what I wanted for my grandkids. You know, where they sit there and they look at Pawpaw and say, "Pawpaw worked for the city for 30 years." And this is the main reason why I come down here, because I'm gonna put this in a nice frame. And I want my grandkids to see that Grandpa took care of business.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
Well, and just for those listening online, we're just going to take one moment for a photograph with a recess, and we'll be right back. Davis. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Fernando, are we back online? Great, there we go. Going back to our regular agenda, I would also acknowledge the 30-year service retirement award for Joe Knott, who is unable to show today but has received his certificate. Going to agenda item, let's go ahead and take number 2, which is a... a tree removal at 1502 and 15012 and 15020 West Moore Park Street in Council District 4. Recommending that the board certify that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the mitigated negative declaration for the project at 15012 to 15020 West Moore Park Street and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. Secondly, find that the project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described mitigated negative declaration as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the MND and incorporated herein as project conditions, such that there is no substantial evidence that the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 3, find the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources, such as tree preservation policies or ordinances, is less than significant with the incorporation of mitigation measures 4 through 70 as contained in, or 4-70, as contained in the MND. Number 4, adopt the MND. Number 5, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents of other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 6, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 2 southern magnolia trees and 1 Brazilian pepper tree. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson, you can walk us through this, and then we have a speaker card on it, and if any issues come up from that, we'll go from there. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. Sapphire Development, LLC is constructing 8 single-family homes on 2 previously existing residential lots located at 15012 and 15020 Westmore Park Street as part of vesting tentative tract 73725-SL. Mr. Aaron Belliston, property owner representative, applied to the Bureau of Engineering for a construction Class B permit to widen the street as part of the conditions to construct. The Bureau informed Mr. Belliston that the required street widening may necessitate street tree removals. Therefore, Mr. Belliston contacted the Bureau of Street Services requesting the project site be inspected to determine what impacts will be on the street trees due to the proposed street widening. A Bureau arborist inspected the subject location on August 31st, 2016. The inspection revealed 2 southern magnolias, grandiflora trees, and 1 Brazilian pepper tree in fair condition growing in front of the locations. The trees measure approximately 8 to 23 inches in diameter by 25 feet in height and are growing in a 5-foot wide improved parkway. The trees will be in the footprint of the proposed roadway and severely impacted by that required street widening. Within the contents of the letter of determination, transmittal number 7, Bureau of Engineering condition of approval S31B requires the developer to widen Moore Park Avenue from 15 feet half roadway to a 22 feet half roadway. The required street widening and public sidewalk improvements will severely impact the street trees. The Department of City Planning prepared a mitigated negative declaration, case number environmental 2015-2861, mitigated negative declaration for the project, finding the project will have less than significant environmental effect with the incorporated mitigation measures. Alice Roth, Deputy 4th Council District Office, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee were informed of the tree removal requests on September 2nd, 2016. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on September 2nd, 2016. The proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system. The applicant shall plant 3 24-inch box-size Southern Magnolia Majestic Beauty, Magnolia grandiflora trees on site, and 3 24-inch box-size Chinese pistache shall be delivered to the Bureau's nursery. The 3 delivered Chinese pistache trees shall be planted in the center landscape median in front of 4124 and 4214 Havenhurst Drive by the Bureau to replace the dead dying trees in the city's median islands. The magnolia trees shall be provided irrigation for a minimum of 1 year after planting by the Bureau. This street has slowly been being widened over a course of many, many years, and what we call that at the Bureau is scalloping, where here it's widened, here it's not, here it is. So when any property wants to come to the Bureau of Engineering to do a new development, that's when these conditions are applied, and they continue to widen the street till someday it'll all be widened to the width that it's currently trying to be widened to someday in the future. All trees will be replanted and near the location, the other ones, and the city will take care of those. And so the environmental impact is less than significant.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Any questions before we go to our speaker? Thank you. We have Carolyn Wilson. Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your time. Just reiterating what Mr. Tyson just said, the trees are being required to be removed by the Board of Public Works, Bureau of Engineering. So if we don't remove them, they will be in the gutter of the new project that we're proposing. And also, if there was any way for Public Works to work together with Bureau of Engineering and Urban Forestry to resolve the lag time between the required removal of the street trees and getting the removal permit. The approval should be inherent in the requirement to widen the street, and that review, if possible, should be done when the discretionary action is proposed, and it should be included in any related CEQA documents at that time so that we don't have this long lag time. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Tyson. Commissioner Repenning.
Just wanted to ask, this is a 72-unit building. Are there other new trees being planted in the public right-of-way? I noticed that we're not able to fit all the replacement trees.
That's correct.
Which part of it's correct, Mr. Tyson?
Both.
Okay. So
The applicant shall plant 3 of the trees back at the site. The city is going to plant the other 3 trees in the center median islands located at 4124 and 4214 to complete the 2-to-1 replacement. And the city will be watering those trees in the median island.
are there any additional trees going in?
Yes, there is. Actually, there are, I believe it's 7 other significant trees on the private property, and overseeing that is city planning, and they have to plant 1-to-1. It's in the tree report, and it's in the letter of determination, and it's in the CEQA mitigated negative declaration that all 7 of those trees will be replaced on a 1-to-1 basis on the private property.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Anything else? Is there a motion? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issues sending number 2 forthwith? We will send number 2 forthwith. Thank you. Let's go to agenda item number 3. No. There's a method to my madness. It's going to take me a while to read this into the record, so bear with me. Council District 14, street closure, 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring, beginning December 3rd, 2016, that's tomorrow, and Spring Street from 1st to 3rd Streets, and 2nd Street from Broadway to Main Street for 13 59-hour weekends. That's 13 59-hour weekends. Recommending that the board, first, find that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the project draft environmental impact statement and environmental impact report. That was transmittal number 1. And the project final EIS/EIR, transmittal number 2. Secondly, find that under the California Public Resources Code, Section 2166, and the CEQA guidelines, Section 15162, on the basis of substantial evidence contained in the whole record, that since certification of the EIS and EIR, there have been no changes to the project, changes with respect to the circumstances under which the temporary street closure specified in recommendations number 7 through 10 below is being undertaken, or new information of substantial importance concerning the project which cause new significant environmental effects or a substantial increase in the severity of previously identified significant effects, and therefore no subsequent EIR and no supplemental EIR is required for the subject temporary street closure. Number 3, adopt the January 20th, 2012 Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program, MMRP. That's Chapter 8 of the final EIS and EIR, prepared by Metro as it pertains to construction impacts, including in particular the mitigation measures that are listed in the agenda under recommendation number 3. Number 4, find under CEQA guidelines section 15091 that changes or alterations have been required in or incorporated into the project which reduce or substantially lessen the significant environmental effects as identified in the EIR. Further, find that there is no feasible alternative or additional feasible mitigation measures within the board's powers that would substantially lessen or avoid any significant effect the project would have on the environment. Number 5, adopt the challenge CEQA findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations, transmittal number 3, as it pertains to temporary street closure, and find that the economic, social, technological, and other benefits of the project outweigh its significant and unavoidable impacts. Number 6, specify that the Metro Transit Division of the Bureau of Engineering, located at 1149 South Broadway, and the board located here at 200 North Spring Street, and other relevant City of LA departments are custodians of the documents or other material which constitute the record of the proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. Number 7, approve the request to temporarily close 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring, starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow, December 3rd. and ending at 6 p.m. March 25th, 2017. That's a Saturday, subject to the conditions identified within the report. And 8, approve the request to temporarily close Spring Street between 1st and 3rd and 2nd Street between Broadway and Main for 13 59-hour weekends, starting Friday at 6 p.m. And ending Monday at 5 a.m. on each of the following weekends, subject to the conditions identified within the report. December 9th to 12th, 2016, December 16 to 19, 2016, and the remaining dates are in 2017. January 6th to January 9th, January 13 to January 16, January 20 to January 23rd, January 27 to January 30, February 3rd to February 6th, February 10 to February 13th, February 17 to February 20, February 24 to 27, March 3 to 6, March 10th to the 13th, and March 17th to March 20th. Number 9, approve the peak hour exemption request, which is transmittal number 4, on 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street between 1st and 3rd to allow construction work in the morning peak hours, at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and afternoon peak hours, 3:30 to 7, starting December 3rd and ending on March 25th, 2017, subject to conditions identified within the report. Number 10, I approve the peak hour exemption request on 2nd Street between Broadway and Main and Spring between 1st and 3rd to allow construction in the afternoon peak hours every Friday, starting December 9th and ending March 17th, 2017, subject to the conditions identified within the report. 11, authorize the city engineer and the director of the Bureau of Street Services to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of the closure. It's recommendation number 7 above, and 2 additional 59-hour weekend closures, which is recommendation number 8 above, if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the construction. And 12, authorize the city engineer to administratively approve 2 additional weeks of peak hour exemption. That's recommendation number 9, and 2 additional Fridays, recommendation number 10, if unforeseen conditions are encountered which delay the completion of the construction, to facilitate the construction of the roadway decking for the 2nd Street and Broadway station in connection with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority Regional Connector Transit Corridor Project. Mr. G.
Good morning. I am Kurt Stree from the Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. The Metro Regional Connector Project is a 1.9-mile underground light rail system through downtown Los Angeles that will extend from the Golden Line Little Tokyo Station to the 7th Street Metro Center. On November 18, 2016, the board adopted, as amended, a report requesting certain street closures for the construction of the 2nd and Broadway station. Recommendations associated with Phase 2 of the temporary full street closure of the 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Streets and the 13 59-hour weekend intersection closures of Spring Street and 2nd Street were deferred due to the worksite traffic control plans were not approved at the time of the November 18, 2016 board hearing. At this time, Metro has attained approval of the required worksite traffic control plans for Phase 2 and the intersection closure. Metro and their contractor, Regional Connector Constructors, is requesting Phase 2 of the full street closures with peak hour exemption to construct the 2nd and Broadway station. This full street closure request is to facilitate utility relocations, pile installation, and installation of structural decking system needed to carry traffic while construction continues below the deck. The requested peak hour exemption is to allow construction work to take place within public streets in the morning peak hours and afternoon peak hours. Decking work is phased from west to east in accordance with 2 phases of traffic control plans. Phasing allows vehicle access to the driveway of the Los Angeles Times parking garage on the north side of 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street. Phase 1 will be completed on December 3rd, 2016 with the implementation of Phase 2. This closure request is for a new street closure request for Phase 2. Phase 2 is a full street closure consisting of a street closure of 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street starting at 6 p.m. December 3rd, 2016, tomorrow, and ending 6 p.m. March 25th, 2017, which is a Saturday. The Phase 2 closure zone also includes an intersection closure of 2nd Street and Spring Street for 13 59-hour weekends. Each 59-hour weekend closure will temporarily close Spring Street between 1st Street and 3rd Street and 2nd Street between Broadway and Main Street for a 13 59-hour weekend starting Friday at 6 p.m. and ending Monday at 5 a.m. for various weekends starting December 9th, 2016 and ending March 20th, 2017. The specific weekends are listed in the report and were read earlier. Included in this report are 6 recommendations to the board that address the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, with the associated requested street closures. These 6 CEQA recommendations were read out loud earlier as the item was introduced. As a responsible agency, the board must comply with CEQA when granting a permit authorizing the closure of the subject streets. Acting as a responsible agency, the board must certify it has considered the environmental effects of the street closure. The project has incorporated the mitigation measures that are required in the Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program. I therefore ask that the board adopt this board report with the recommendations that were listed in the report and which have been stated at the start of the agenda item, with the conditions stated here. 1, pursuant to the City of Los Angeles and Metro Master Cooperative Agreement, City Council Contract Number C104288, and Board Joint Report Number 1, Regional Connector Special Permitting Process, adopted September 12, 2014. Associated permit fees shall be waived. 2, permittee shall reopen 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street to weekday traffic within 1 week if community and traffic impacts are found to be unacceptable and this approval is revoked. 3, permittee shall obtain all necessary approvals for construction work related to the street closure prior to implementing any and all street-related activities. 4, permittee shall obtain a Los Angeles Police Department exemption from work hour restriction permit and comply with all permit conditions. 5, permittee shall comply with the peak hour exemption conditions as outlined in the Los Angeles Municipal Code sections 62.61D and 80.06.1. The peak hour exemption can be revoked at any time by the city engineer. Number 6, the permittee shall comply with all construction-related mitigation measures required in the Mitigation Monitoring and Reporting Program. In conclusion, representatives from Metro, RCC, and the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Management Group are here today if you have any questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Curtis. Commissioner Repenning? Anything? Nothing? Commissioner Jacinto?
Yep. Thank you, President James. Curtis, thank you for that. The phase 2 is a result of us not having, or Metro not having the traffic control plan as of that date, right? So you stated earlier that they did receive that approval.
Yes, the approval was on November 22nd.
On 20, so shortly thereafter too. Okay, I want to go to one of the conditions number 2 that says a permittee shall reopen 2nd Street between Broadway and Spring Street to weekday traffic within 1 week if the traffic impacts are found to be unacceptable. How do we measure that? Curtis, can you describe that, please?
It's measured by like community impacts. If there's a lot of, I guess, residents or constituents that voice their dissatisfaction with the closure, and if there's a tremendous amount of traffic that backs up on adjacent streets,
that'll trigger that.
Yeah.
But we are going to have traffic control personnel that are going to be working. That's one of the part of the plan, correct?
True. Yes, that is correct. For the mitigation measures for traffic, they have signage of vehicles, pedestrian, and bicycle detour routes. They added protected left turn phasing. They installed a CCTV camera for traffic surveillance. And they have traffic control officer deployments throughout the detour routes, and they provide signal timing adjustments.
Okay, so all those things, and it comes at a time where it's the holidays too, so there's going to be tremendous traffic in the area too. So I think this is an important sort of escape clause, or just an opportunity to make sure that the traffic is not unbearable and that we're still able to function.
That's correct. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Anything else? Commissioner Jacinto has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3, seconded by Commissioners Davis and myself. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issues, sending it forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We'll go to agenda item number 1. Tree removal, and the address is 535 South Kingsley Drive in Council District 10. Recommending that the board certify that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the mitigated negative declaration for the project at 535 South Kingsley Drive, and find that the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals. Number 2, find that the project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described mitigated negative declaration, as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the M&D and incorporated herein as project conditions, such that there is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Number 3, find the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources, such as the tree preservation policies or ordinances or later ordinances, is less than significant with the incorporation of mitigation measures 4-70 and 90 as contained in the MND. Number 4, adopt the MND. Number 5, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is the custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 6, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 4 Mexican fan palms. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on number 1.
This is a special one. Burnham Nationwide Incorporated are currently constructing a 72-unit apartment complex located at 535 South Kingsley Drive. As part of the project, the owner is required to install driveways to allow access to the underground garage and other related street improvements. Mr. Justin Manilow, representative for the property owner, applied to the Bureau of Engineering for a permit to construct new driveways. The Bureau informed Mr. Manilow the required driveways and street improvements may necessitate street tree removals. Therefore, Mr. Manilow was advised to contact the Bureau of Street Services to have an inspection to determine the impacts that would be placed on the existing Washingtonia robusta trees at the property. A Bureau of Street Services arborist inspected the subject location on May 2nd, 2016. The inspection revealed 11 Mexican fan palms growing in 4 tree sites in the public right-of-way. 3 of the 4 sites have what are known as multi-trunk palms or multi-stemmed trees, possessing 2 to 5 trunks at each site. The palms measure approximately 16 inches in diameter by 75 feet in height and are in fair to good health. The proposed 2 driveway locations that need to be construction will severely impact 4 palm trees, which is 2 planting sites. The Department of City Planning prepared a mitigating negative declaration for the project. Sylvia Lacey, District Director, 10th Council District Office, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee were informed of the tree removal request on August 4th, 2016. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on August 4th, 2016. The proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system and the Community Forest Advisory Committee. These are some trees that President James likes, so he told me so. He sees them all the time.
Mexican fan.
The applicant shall plant, and this is important for Commissioner Repenning, that I make an understanding of what this is about. The applicant shall plant Mexican fan palm trees, Washington robusta, which is the same species that's being removed, with a minimum of the 15 feet brown trunk, so the trees are actually about 20 feet tall when they plant them at the location. There will be 2 24-inch box-size African fern pines in the center median island along the 1600 block of South Normandy Avenue that will also be taken care of on the 2-to-1 replacement policy for 2 planting sites, as normally you have 1 tree in a planting site. And I could refer to our protected tree ordinance when we use the walnut species. They are all added together cumulatively. They all derive from one base, many trunks. They're called a multi-stem tree. Now, normally, we don't plant these kind of trees in the street, in the wells. This is where one of the trees is the dad of all the others, and they planted themselves right next to it real early on, and they all grew together as one tree, which basically means it has a weak base. And so you can't cut one of them off of the base without rendering the rest of the 3 trunks that would be standing there in a hazardous condition. So therefore, they all have to be removed. Also, this is a Jameson Properties development. And they have been kind enough to work with me. And they are going to deliver 4 24-inch box trees for the other 2 trees that the Bureau and the Urban Forestry Division has places for these trees to already be planted. There's 2 planting sites. 2 trees are coming out, but it looks like 4 trees because it is 4 stems, but it's only 2 sites. But they're willing to replace them all on a 2-to-1 basis, but not be responsible for the other 4. And I feel that this is a very good compromise, as we need these trees for other locations that are currently, I could speak about them, but I don't think I will. But we're gathering trees to replace some trees that the Bureau removed that need to be replaced right now. So they have a home. And they're doing the sidewalk on an A permit, and the property is on a B permit, and it was a parking lot before, so there were not any other significant trees on the private property side for them to replace on a 1-to-1 basis. And that's it in a shell. We would just like to get this approved by the board, and we'll replace those palm trees, President James, with ones just like them.
Great, thanks,
they'll grow
Tim.
tall.
Any questions on agenda item number 1? Any further questions? Thank you. I think everything was answered on agenda item number 1. I'll make a motion that we adopt number 1. Seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. We can send it back forthwith. Thank you, everybody, on number 1. Agenda item number 4, authority for expenditure for State Water Resources Control Board. The Office of Accounting and the Bureau of Sanitation are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $80,000 to pay for annual waste discharge requirements and stormwater permit fees for the Sheldon Arleta landfill, the Bishop Canyon landfill, the Gaffey Street landfill, and the Lopez Canyon landfill and Toyon landfill. John Hamilton on number 4. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So this is for permits for 5 landfills, closed landfills that the city has historically operated in the past, and it's for 5 groundwater permits and for 5 stormwater permits for those sites.
Yeah, got to pay our bills. Any questions on this? Okay, Commissioner Davis has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? We'll object. No objection. Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5, also authority for expenditure, social and environmental entrepreneurs, SEE Inc. Office of Accounting and Bureau of Sanitation requesting board approval and execution of authority for expenditure in the amount of $150,000 to cover services from July 1 to June 30th, 2017 in connection with the Cool Blocks LA program. Daniel Hackney.
Good morning, everyone. Daniel Hackney, LA Sanitation.
Hi, Daniel. Just for the record, you can talk a little bit about the Cool Blocks LA program?
Sure. It's a pilot program that was adopted by a city council earlier in the year. They allocated $150,000 in this year's annual budget for the social and environmental entrepreneurs, which is a nonprofit group, to go out and develop a community-based program in which they encourage people to form block groups, hence Cool Blocks LA. It's 5 to 8 households per a block. The philosophy/theory of this program is that when you get neighbors together who know each other or should know each other, it's more meaningful to them, it's more personal, they get more involved. So the nonprofit groups, which involve several entities, and they're working with the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, which is an alliance, obviously, part of our City of Los Angeles Neighborhood Council group of 96 neighborhood councils. So they're working in partnership together to develop these block groups. So far, they've developed 10 blocks that are already working on improving their environmental footprint. They work on disaster preparedness. They work on water conservation and just making their community better and improving their daily quality of life.
Terrific. Thank you for the update and the explanation. Any questions on agenda item number 5? I don't have any questions. Yes. Commissioner Davis, go ahead, sir.
This program was proposed and I guess initiated by City Council is a pilot project. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In the pilot, what is the geographic scope of it in terms of who's participating? Is it in all 15 districts? And
yes, it's in their letter of agreement with the City of Los Angeles that they are to create these cool blocks in all 15 council districts. I spoke to them this morning, and they're already in about 12.
They're already
yeah.
Is there a financial ratio in terms of the allocation of the $150 being expended in each of those districts? Is it?
That is not part of the letter of agreement.
I see. So you just determine what the scope of work will be, and you look at the $150,000 and see how much of that can be expended for projects as they present themselves.
Right. I feel very confident that they are trying to be very equitable and fair in spreading the wealth of a $150,000 investment across all of Los Angeles.
Not very much money.
No.
Is there some collaboration with other resources that perhaps the nonprofits who are executing the program bring to bear to help us to achieve some of the goals that the pilot project seeks to do?
I am not aware of if they are seeking ancillary resources to support this program. Because it's a pilot, I believe they are required to provide quarterly reports to LA SAN and the council offices that they're working with. So my gut instinct is towards the end of this program, we're going to make some kind of assessment of its level of success and whether it should be continued or expanded. And at that point, I think that would probably be the time that we could maybe bring our internal resources to bear to help them in partnership find additional resources, whether it be financial or workforce.
In some neighborhoods I've seen, particularly in South Los Angeles, a transformation from existing yards to those that now have pebbles, rocks, perhaps some of the vegetation from the southeast part of the country like cactus and others. Is this the kind of project that would be one that could be implemented under this pilot project?
Absolutely, and hence I believe their strong partnership with the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, and that is one of their objectives citywide, is teaching these principles of sustainability to our residents. We all know that water is the most precious resource in the city of Los Angeles, so that's going to be an ongoing effort, as it is with Sanitation's One Water plan.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Penning?
I think to get to Commissioner Davis's question, I think we can look at it as seed money to kind of cultivate a group of people who would think about how to implement some of these ideas of how to actually reduce heat island effect in their neighborhoods and in their communities, so that you're kind of introducing the concept and helping people understand how they can realize it, bring resources together in their communities to help achieve, the impacts that we're looking for. So
I agree wholeheartedly. I think an analogy is way back in the mid-90s when sanitation introduced the big blue recycling, single-stream recycling, back when we all had the 16-gallon yellow bins, and those had some issues. Participation was an issue, scavenging was an issue. We did a pilot neighborhood very similarly where all 15 council districts got the big blue containers for us to study participation and such. And it was infectious in the sense that we started getting calls and emails from the adjacent communities going, hey, they've got that big blue container, when can we get that? So I'm hoping that this Cool Blocks LA program has a similar impact, that as you say, Commissioner Davis, they start seeing yards converted. The adjacent neighborhood goes, oh, why'd they do that? And they get interested and they find out, and hopefully it spreads across the city.
Okay, thanks, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you, Commissioner Cinto.
Yeah, thank you, President James. Daniel, thank you for this. I think it's really, in the sustainability at the block level is extraordinary, and I think that we have, as we leverage, as we find out what happens in this pilot project, that it may be sustainable organically on its own and continue, because I think when you organize at the block level with your neighbors, that's really where it's at. It's not just one family household, but the idea of that cohort, if you will, and just that neighborhood and block to block is really exciting. So I look forward to it. I think it's a great concept, and seeing where we can go with this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hackney. And our executive officer points out there's a letter of agreement that's attached as well, but the AFE request doesn't seek authority for my signature on the letter of agreement. So we may as well, just to be safe, go ahead and provide that amendment. Would you suggest, Mr. Campos?
That is correct. Just approving the AFE as amended to authorize the board president to execute and sign the attached letter of agreement.
Okay, then that would be my motion on this. Seconded by Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? With that objection, we will do so. Thank you, Mr. Hackney. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. All right, thank you. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Then we are adjourned with the exception of a management meeting that we'll have for a few minutes. Thank you.